Browns 23-9 losers off the leash. Mark Schwab, Fred Greetham from the Orange and Brown Report with you on the Big Fun Show. It was not a Big Fun Show today, Fred. They have no offense, and there's no end in sight here. Do you tell me I'm wrong? There's no end in sight for this terrible offense right now, is there?
I don't see any answers, as far as you're not seeing any emerging playmakers at all at wide receiver. You're getting good production out of Harold Fannin and David Njoku at tight end, but again, not making the plays when they need to, hang on the ball. But disappointment today. Quinshon Judkins has really been the big bright spot. They didn't use him today. I think he finished with 12 carries for 36 yards, and he's the type of guy you just keep pounding the defense. He's up near the lead in broken tackles and yards after contact. Just keep giving him the ball. You don't really have much better options, and they didn't use him in the passing game. That's where I would use him, because the swing passes and so forth, out in the open space, he has a chance to go for a touchdown every time he touches the ball.
12 carries, 36 yards, and
no catches.
He had no catches. He had one target. That is unbelievable. The one that I can't get past is the first and goal on the 3. First and goal on the 3, and Quinshon Judkins did not see the ball one time. Incomplete pass, then another pass that resulted in a sack, and at that point, then, yeah, you got to pass because you're third and goal from outside the 10. There is no excuse for that. He is your best offensive player. It's 3 times to Judkins. What are they doing?
Yeah, clearly didn't watch Ohio State, when they got near the goal line last year on their way to the championships. But, yeah, you give him the ball. And if you feel like that doesn't work, then you roll out, use him as the decoy, and hit a tight end, an easy pass in the end zone. That you see the other teams do that over and over. But just to not use him at all in that situation is beyond me. You're conceding, they're going to stop Judkins, so we're not going to use him. That's almost where you talk yourself into it. I know Mike Tomlin, as much as he talked about how great Judkins was, and he always loved Nick Chubb, and he said they've got the next Nick Chubb. You knew he's telling his team, we're not letting that dude beat us. We'll make everybody else. And so it's almost like the Browns played into that. Yeah, yep. They're going to take him away, so we're not going to worry about it. He only touched the ball, I think, 6 times in the first half.
And it was a game at the half. They're down 9-3.
9-3, one score game. And, even down there, when you're down at the end of the game, you've got first and goal at the 3, spread him out and give him the ball, or just straight power run. I know the blocking wasn't great, but you got to give the ball to number 10. He's your best option.
Dylan Gabriel today, 29 of 52, 221 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. He was sacked 6 times. He had a rating of 66. He did not kill them today. But he certainly didn't make a ton of throws. They didn't help him with some drops. Fannin had the worst drop of the game as far as I'm concerned. Judy had another big drop because that's what he does. Njoku had a drop. And, Fred, your favorite player of the game, the one where Isaiah Bond got hit in the head with the football near the goal line because he's running a slant near the goal line. So why would you be looking for the ball, right?
Yeah, I think that's when you were on the 3. And so it's not a long route. And once you hit the goal line, you got to look for the ball. I don't know if he was hoping to get to the back of the end zone before he looked for the ball. But, yeah, Gabriel put it right on the back of his helmet. It seemed like that would have been a very catchable ball. But, yeah, it's just the drops kill you. Those are just as bad as sacks and anything else, especially when you're looking for chunk plays. You think of that Fannin play. He dropped it right in there over the defender, right on the sideline, yep. Right soft hand, and he dropped the ball going out of bounds.
You have to catch the football. It is just me and Fred right now because the ladies, Leah and Ashley, in Pittsburgh to cover the game. They're at the press conference. We're going to hear from Kevin Stefanski, who reminded us all they just need to play better.
I've heard that now for 5-6 years as well as you have, Mark, being out there every day. And the other word he uses, we've got to get it fixed, and we will. I'm like, I think you're the guy that's in charge of fixing it or makes the decisions to fix it. And I'm not getting a lot of confidence that you're getting it fixed, because I heard that all last year, and I've heard it now almost for 6 weeks, 6 games.
All right. So here's Coach afterwards talking about how they have to get it fixed and they have to play better.
Frustrated to not play clean football on offense, defense, and special teams. Just can't do it on the road versus a good football team, and we got to get it fixed, because before you start winning, you got to stop losing. We're doing some things right now that are preventing us from winning, so we'll get it fixed. With that, I'll take any questions.
What's the number one thing offensively this game?
Well, yeah, I don't think it's as simple as that, Zach. Obviously, today we weren't able to run the ball effectively, and then got behind there in the second half. 0 for 3 in the red zone. I know those were 2-minute drives, a lot of them, but we gotta find a way to score points. Got to run the ball efficiently. Got to find a way to be better in the pass game. All of the above.
Was it something the Steelers did that you couldn't run, or was it something else?
Yeah, I mean, obviously give credit to your opponent, but we got to do a better job.
Kevin, with all the issues on offense, is there any thoughts maybe getting a pick on you to try to oversee this entire offense and get it back on track?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we need to do better, and obviously I'll look at all things.
So you will consider?
There's a long list of things we got to do better.
Kevin, Dylan was basically beat up this whole entire game, hit 16 times, sacked 6 times. He really didn't have much of a chance. So many of his passes were dropped.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about what a tough road that was for him out there today?
Yeah, he's a tough kid. We got to keep him clean. Obviously, when the game turns into how it turned, a 2-score game, you have to drop back, and that's a tough team to drop back versus. But he kept battling. It wasn't for lack of effort by him or by anybody. Made some plays, but we just got to be better.
All right, so that's Kevin Stefanski, the same stuff you've heard, and they need to play better and they need to get it fixed. We know. When we come back, we got to talk about the defense, and we're going to hear from Myles Garrett. Off the Leash continues. True false question of the day, Fred. True false question of the day. The Browns will not win another road game the rest of the year. Let me walk you through who they have. They have 5 left, and hold on, I had it. They got a winnable win with the Jets. First, it is at New England in 2 weeks. Then they go to the Jets. Then they go to the Raiders, who also stink, at Chicago, at the Bengals. You look at that, and you say there's winnable games there. I think they lose every one of them, so I'm going to say true. They do not win another road game the rest of the year. What say you?
I mean, it's hard to argue with that, but I do think they will win one of those 5 games. None of them are as good as the first 6 games they've had, other than maybe the Bengals, and that could be the toilet bowl in the last game of the year. I don't think Burrow will come back for that, so who knows who'll be playing quarterback for either team there. Joe Flacco will still be going, but I would say the Browns have a good chance to win any one of those games. They won't win them all, but they'll win 1, if not 2 or 3 of them. It just depends on if they're playing to win. I make a case last year, once they got down the stretch and they benched Jameis Winston, they were playing to lose. They would never say that, but they would rather be 3-14 than 5-12 or whatever because of the draft positioning. And I don't know, they'll never say it, but they're transitioning. They're trying to rebuild on the fly. With 14 rookies, that's all you need to know. And if in these next 2 games they don't win them both or feel like they have an upward trend, you might start unloading players and playing the backups to see what you have, next year.
It's at some point that is going to happen. I want to talk about some of the defensive players in this game, but first we're going to hear from one of them. Here's Myles Garrett after today's loss.
Myles, how do you process another loss here?
It's tough. That's all I can say.
Miles, when you look out there, you guys are a team in transition, obviously. There's so many young guys out there. How hard is it? Everybody fought so hard, but how hard is it to come into Pittsburgh, play against this veteran, aggressive football team with really so many young guys?
I mean, no team is going to care that we have young guys. Guys around the league, young or old, are expected to make plays, and we had young guys step up and do that. But there's no expectation of you when you come in. There's less expected of you or more expected of you. The job is to win, no matter how old you are.
Miles, I know you always say that you win as a team, but it seems like every game the script is kind of the same, where the offense really isn't holding up the bar. Is it a little more frustrating and difficult to kind of deal with? So what goes through your mind?
Yeah, it's frustrating. Yeah, it's frustrating. To lose the same way every time, it's frustrating as hell.
Fred, Miles had 2 tackles and zeros across the board, no sacks. I understand they scheme around him and they do all those things. Still, how does that hit you when your best player has 2 tackles, no sacks, when he's there to devastate the offense?
Yeah, you're getting $40 million a year. I think that's about $20 million a tackle. No, I mean,
Good money.
All things being equal, I think T.J. Watt, I'd be surprised if the Browns didn't game plan. Now, it didn't look like the game plan against him because he still disrupts the game. He had a sack or 2 sacks today, and he batted down balls. He's chasing down the quarterback. I think all the teams, are scheming against some of these other guys that are making game-changing plays. I would just like to see Miles make more consistently. The last 2 weeks now he has no sacks. He made more plays last week in the loss to the Vikings, even though he didn't have a sack, than I would say today. Didn't really see him affecting Aaron Rodgers much at all. And so that's my take, is that the great ones find ways to still disrupt the game. They don't say, oh, they took me out of it because they game planned against me.
So I want to talk about one of the guys playing next to him. That's Mason Graham. He was the number 5 overall pick. He was the Browns' number 1 pick in the draft. Obviously, he's always going to be attached to Travis Hunter because of the trade back from 2 to 5. Graham has 5 solo tackles and a half a sack. Now, he plays a position that is hard to notice. To be fair, we're taping this basically after the game, and if you want to really focus on Mason Graham or anyone on the defensive line, you can't watch the ball, you can't watch the right. You have to do nothing but watch that guy. And then you can't come in and really have this kind of show because you didn't see much of what else went on out there. But when those guys do make the impact, and you do see them, is when they get to the quarterback or they really disrupt a pocket or they force a big hold. And he's not doing that. I don't know is it fair to say he should be doing that already?
Well, you'd like to see more flash plays. I do know that, when you're the 5th pick in the draft, it's the defensive tackles are so under the radar statistically. You'll look at even the ones that are considered great. They have 1 or 2 tackles in a game. But with that said, what I think he's really helping is in the rushing game, the rushing defense. The Browns gave up 120 yards or more in a game last year on an average, and he really was good at Michigan in that, and I think he's really made an impact on helping the rushing game. Again, the Steelers ran a little better. They had close to 100 yards, but their top rusher, was held to like 52 yards. And so he's making an impact there. I'm giving him a little slack. Jim Schwartz still talking highly of how he's affecting, and that he would just get better and better as time goes on. I don't think he's ever going to have a lot of stats, but they want him to rush the passer from the inside. Malik Collins had 2 sacks last week against the Vikings. Those were impactful and noticeable.
Right.
And he's a 10-year veteran, so you want to see more of that. Give the benefit of the doubt that Graham will get better and better as the season goes on.
I'm not going to rip the kid. I'm not doing that, but I'm just, what you were saying. Yeah, you'd like to see more of the splash and flash plays. He was the 5th pick in the draft. That's why it comes up. The new guy, Tyson Campbell, 5 tackles, 2 passes defensed. Hard to complain about what he did. He seemed fine. I know there was a big completion his way, but that was a great throw and a great catch by Metcalf. It's one game. He was only here a few days. Fine. Looked good.
Yeah, for a couple of days of practice, you don't know if he missed coverage. You could definitely see the Steelers were kind of testing him, see if a blown assignment here or there. He tracked down one, I think, the first play of the game and actually stripped the ball, but it went out of bounds. But I liked his hustle. I liked his physical presence. He's a bigger guy that can stay with him, Metcalf, as far as physically. He had back-to-back breakups. There was one he should have intercepted. He never turned around. The ball hit him right in the middle of the back. I think if you turn around, it's right in the middle of your stomach. Mm-hmm. But the obvious one when he got beat, Rodgers laid it up there and he never turned around, and Metcalf's got the touchdown. So I think he'll end up being a good acquisition. I like him already better than Greg Newsome. That's just a personal. I like Greg personally, but he's not a big physical guy. He's more of a zone coverage guy. And if they want to play man-to-man, I think Campbell suits him better. And they get a good look at him because financially the Jaguars paid him all the money up front. He's under contract for 2 or 3 years. If they don't like what they see, they move on. They still might have to draft a cornerback in the first round next year anyway.
Yeah, you did mention it that he didn't turn around. There were times he wasn't looking at the ball, and that a lot of times can get you the defensive pass interference. But to his credit, he did one of these. He made it a point to not interfere with the receiver. So, okay, if you're not going to look at the ball in that moment, also don't contact the receiver because they'll call that a lot. And he did a great job there. So the losing streak is now 22 in a row in the regular season for the Browns in Pittsburgh. They still haven't won there since 2003. They are home next week. They have Miami in town. Miami is not good. They are also a one-win team. People will say, this is a winnable game. It is a winnable game. They can be winnable, but you can still lose them.
They found ways. They've lost 2 winnable games out of the 6. Miami's looking at the same thing. This is a winnable game for us, and I'm sure New England's looking at that the next week. But the Browns, I really think these next 2 games are important to just make a decision if they keep going or they just totally go all rookies and youth movement. It's unfortunate because if you look at the Bengals are in the tank without Joe Burrow. Joe Flacco, I don't know if he's going to save their season. And the Ravens. I mean, did you ever think the Ravens would be 1-5?
No.
They're teetering on the limit as well. And so you're looking at, if you had any semblance, or even one today, it could have been a 2-horse race, with the Steelers. And anything can happen down the second half of the season. So, yeah, that's what's unfortunate. But I think these next 2 weeks will tell a lot if they come out and turn things around or they just keep doing what they're doing.
Off the Leash. Get it where you get your podcast. Like, subscribe. Give us a 5-star review, please. I don't like to beg and grovel, but I'm going to ask. 5-star review, please. It helps a whole lot with the algorithms. Fred, thanks for coming by. Ladies not with us because they are in Pittsburgh covering the game. They are literally being paid to watch that, and that is sometimes the only way you can watch the Cleveland Browns.
That's what I say.
That's what I say. Fred, thanks for coming around. For Fred Greetham, I'm Mark Schwab. See you!